Hi guys. So today I am gone. It is Monday the 31st, and our assignment is to make some fake news. And I guess the first thing I should talk about is why are we doing this? Well, the idea here is to be able to identify fake news. It's actually a pretty good idea to make fake news. That way, you can kind of see the patterns and whatnot. Okay, so first step. Watch this whole video. I know it's going to be a little long. I'm sure of it. I can tell already. It's going to be a little long, but please watch all of it because I'm also going to go over how to edit some things and more of the why. All right, so here's our website we're going to start with, and that is the first link on number one here in Classroom. So you're going to go through here and pick one that sounds like you could make a story. I'm going to pick one I think people will probably not want to use, and Math Doctorates Awards. So people who become math doctors, PhDs, every time it correlates with the uranium stored at U.S. nuclear power plants. So the more math doctors or less math doctors that we have, it correlates with the amount of nuclear waste. Okay, great. Storage at nuclear waste. So I'm going to take this one. Now I can't right click and save it, because it's actually not a JPEG right now. But you can click these three little lines right here, very important. Download PNG or JPEG, it's either one is just fine. So if I download PNG, on my computer it's going to go right here, but on your Chromebook it's going to go to the downloads folder. You can use a desktop or a Chromebook for this, it doesn't matter. Then, what I'm going to make available is a link right here, or down here I mean, to a template for Google Drawing or Google Slides. I think I'll just do Google Slides. You are welcome to use either, and I'm going to assume you've used one of them before, but if you haven't, I'm going to go over a bit of that. Okay, so if you click on the Google Slides one, it is here. Now there's three of these. I think you should have like kind of like two stories going on. So I'm going to go with this one here, and so I'm just going to go ahead and delete these two. Well, you're going to make a copy though, so I'm going to make a copy. Entire presentation. There we go. And then I'm going to delete the other two pages I don't need. All right. Don't need this one. Don't need that one. Oh, and I should say, if you want to start blank and just go from there, totally do it. Then you're going to take this image, and what you're going to do is right click on it and do image replace image right here. And you can do by URL, but we're going to be uploading from our computer. And there's the chart. I'm going to hit open. So look in your downloads folder. And there we go. It looks pretty good the way it is, right? So this kind of gives me room for the main story and maybe like a supporting story. What I don't like is like almost half of it is just all this stuff. So we're going to modify this to make it work for us. So let's first start with a new name. So this is about nuclear waste in the United States. Could be a local story, could be national. I'm going to do, I don't know, U.S. Daily report. That sounds pretty good. You make up whatever you'd like. Hit enter. There it is. Like I said, this is kind of large. Let's make it smaller. All right. And maybe what we could do is, we don't even need this red line necessarily. We could use it, but I'm gonna pause it and I'm just gonna kind of move things around. Just know that obviously you can move things around. You can change the color of it. But I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to pause it now. All right, so I went with the onlysourceoftruth.com is the website name, and the only place for truth, you know, because that's what a lot of bias fake news does, is tries to convince you that they're the only ones that have the truth, so you're more dedicated to come back. All right, so let's select all that text and make it white because we got this red background. And then we can take this red. Well, you see this box around it? Let's just move that out of the way for a second. Now it's kind of hard to see, right? But what we can do is this red line. It is a line, in fact, so you can change the thickness. So 16 is already pretty large. So maybe what I'll do is I'll take this text and just make it smaller. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty good. Now, if you click off it, you can see that there's a box around it still. So let's just modify that to actually fit like right around the edges. You can just grab the corners, and there we go. The only place for truth. All right, so let's pop that up a little bit. Oh, it doesn't want to go that way. All right, well, that's fine. We can just leave it like that. U.S. Daily Report. We're going to center it because that's what you see in newspapers a lot of times. Now this can be like considered a website too. I'm just saying newspaper, but whatever. All right, and then the other thing is like now to separate the titles here from the rest, you could also, you have these lines you can put in. When you're drawing a line, if you hold down shift, it actually makes sure it's straight around a 45. So that's really helpful actually. So I'm going to go right to the spot here. And let's make it a little thicker, like 3. And maybe pop it up right under there. You could even go with gray or something a little different. That's up to you. All right, maybe I need to bring it down. So like, I don't actually like how this P and Y are coming down. So just so you know, we could do all uppercase. And sometimes you see that with like old papers too. Daily report. U.S. Daily Report. All right. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, so it gives us a lot more room. So we got this chart. Now we got to think of a good headline here. So we really, like, good fake news gets people, like, have a emotional reaction. All right. What do you want to do? Something like doctors of math or match. Let's do math. Math PhD. Let's do math professors. That's going to be easy for people to understand. Professors. Oh, I spelled professors wrong. Whoa, spell check works here though still. Nice. Math professors. Cause, right? It's not causation, but we're going to make it look like it. Math professors cause nuclear waste hazard. Yeah, there we go. All right. That's a lot to fit in that area. See, it's going to be really long like that. So we may want to consider using a text box instead. All right, so we'll crush this in, see what we got. Math professors cause nuclear waste. Ooh, okay. So this is actually a word art. So maybe we should take this out and rather, I'm going to delete this and I'm going to use a text box instead. And I know I want to make it about this large, right? So math professors cause nuclear waste. Okay, waste hazard. You can make this a little larger. It should drop down to the next line, right? So I'm going to make this a little thinner. All right. Yeah. You know what? Let's leave it on one line like we had. I think that's going to work better. All right, cool. Now that gives us more room for text and whatnot. So we could bring this up. Or what we can do is even put a few pictures in there because people like to have that as well. And then we can think of like a supporting story just to go with it. How about nuclear leak? All right. Nuclear leak. All right, we want to make sure this is bigger than the other one. So maybe we should go larger. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, there we go. Let's center that up. People like to center things, it seems like. All right. I'm going to play around with this a little bit, and I'll be back in just a moment. All right, so let's get some images in there. So we want to show like what that could actually look like, why this is dangerous. And so what you can do is you can go to Google Images, but honestly, it's easier probably just go to Insert Image right from here, and you can do Search the Web. And I'm going to type in nuclear waste. All right. Oh, look, some are just right out in the open. This looks dangerous. So let's go with this one right here, and hit Insert. And it'll plop it in and mess up everything probably. There we are. And I like the formatting of this because it's a good shape, right? So if we want though, we could take this and crop it because we don't actually want to cover up. Oops, not that. We don't want to use that area, so we just want it to be like this. Oh, I resized. See, that's not cropping. You gotta grab the right one. There it is. And I can crop it to the right size. All right. So something like that. I could resize a little smaller. Or like I said, I could crop this again, so that way, you know, we're seeing the important thing now, which I'll go up right here. Okay, maybe we'll go to the edge right here. All right, after a bit of time of moving things around, I was able to create this. Now, let me help you a little bit with some of the problems that I see. First off, if you see the nuclear dump, the P is covered, right? So what you can do is you can right-click on any object, though, and change the order of it. You can usually right-click on it and go to Order. And I want to bring that to front. So that way my P is over the image here. Another thing you can do is you can stack images. So I'm going to insert image and then search the web. And I typed in nuclear waste barrel PNG. If you type in PNG and you happen to select the right one, it'll actually be transparent. It won't have that stupid white box around it, right? So when I insert this, it's going to be huge. There we go. You can see there's no white along the edge. So if I put it on top of an image, it won't be a problem. So we're going to kind of incriminate this guy by him teaching about nuclear waste. There we go. So it makes it look like the professor is talking about it. You can even get fancy with this. You can go to format options here, and you can change the things about it, like recolor. We can change to no color, or we could even make it look like it's partly see-through, I think. Maybe not. That looks a little bit more like it's part of the background, but maybe we don't want to recolor. And I'll just leave it like that. You can also do things like, change the thickness and drop shadow of things. So like just when you click on these, you should say format options. If you don't, click it right here. But we can add things like drop shadow. So if you look on the edge right here, you can click drop shadow. It puts this little darkness there. If you can't really see it, you can change the distance and blur of it. However, when I click off it, you can see it looks like it's floating. That's what drop shadow does. So I don't know if that really makes sense here, so I'm probably going to get rid of it. But I just want to show you that's available. I added lines to kind of separate it so it looks nice and organized. Obviously, it's 1, 2, 3 stories. I would like you to have at least 2 stories, but 3 would be even better, even if it's really short. So let me talk why I wrote these the way I did. So like we have here, nuclear dump, shows an image that is obviously disturbing. We have run out of places to store this nuclear material, and then I'm making fun of it, just saying some guy. Typically you'd have like someone's name there, right? So in Lansing, Michigan, the governor has declared a state of emergency. She has, but not for this case. Nuclear waste left out in the open is a huge hazard according to the World Health Organization. So I just made 2 statements, right? And then I quoted that are totally true. I mean, both these things have happened, right? But I'm linking it to something that isn't real, though. So that's the thing with fake news. You got to take real and then mix it in with an agenda. So we want to make it look like math professors are bad. Here's a quote. Why are we letting these mathematicians get away with attacking our families? All right. So I've said Mrs. Smith. We don't know who that is, of Smithsville, USA. Obviously, that'd be hard to identify that real person. The incompetent governor bureaucrat is holding a press conference to address concerns. All right, so you can see like I'm being snide here. I'm the incompetent government bureaucrat. So bureaucrats are like, we're thinking of those people as just people in the way in government, and incompetent means they can't do their job well. So you can see I'm obviously saying government's bad, and that this is a danger, even though it's not real. Math professor cause nuclear waste hazard. All right, so we have this chart here, right? And then you should have some sort of explanation with yours as well. So I say the above chart clearly shows that the more math doctorates we have, the more nuclear hazards we have in the US. Math is un-American, so I just threw that in there to make people angry, all right? And I had that over here too. Math professors are un-American. So, I added this image. I just picked some random guy. There's no citation saying where this is coming from or who took the picture. And you'll notice there are no authors throughout. And if you want to put an author, great. You don't have to, but it's one of those things. If you do put an author, make it sound like someone who has no authority. So if I, let's say, had a, an accountant write this, that doesn't make sense. Or if I had a doctorate of orthopedic surgery, so a doctor of bones. That doesn't make sense, right? But here's my thing. Math is poisoning our country. The less math professors, the better, said John Smith. Very reasonable patriots are protesting outside the governor's home to demand we stop teaching math in our schools. So right here, the very reasonable patriots. Well, how can you make that assumption? But we see it all the time in biased news. And then lastly, if we can stop these evil mathematicians from graduating, we can save our God-given property. This is very common as well. So we throw the word evil in, and then we put a religious inflection in there of God-given property. So a lot of people will use religion in their benefit. It's pretty common. So there we go. So once I can then go up to File, and I'm going to do Download PDF. All right, I just downloaded it, and then in Classroom I can go back to this assignment. It says PDF or JPEG. PDF's really better. And then I'm going to attach it. I can't show that, but you're just going to upload it because it downloaded as a PDF right here, right? And that should be it. It's worth 15 points, so more than any other assignment before. And I hope you guys enjoy making your fake news. It should be a lot of fun. Okay? Thanks.